Start off by saying sorry about the lighting in here. I'm up under the easy up. I've been cutting up the deer my stepson got Monday. It's been on ice, and I went ahead and cut it up and put it in Ziploc bags and put it back in the cooler. He wants to make jerky out of the whole deer, so that's what we're going to do. And for y'all that don't know, he shot his first deer with a Mossberg 410 bolt action. Old gun, you know, it was his great grandfather's. I'm glad he was able to harvest some deer with it. Perfect shot, instant. Talk to you a little bit today about deer hunting. Some of y'all know that during mating season, bucks will scrape the ground and they'll urinate down their back legs into the scrape. They rub their antlers on the trees. Sometimes they'll rub them to get the velvet off, but they'll also continue to rub them during breeding season. Well, this year we haven't been seeing a lot of bucks on camera. The weather's pretty much the same as it's been the last couple years. So it got me wondering. Some of y'all know we've had trespassers on the hunting property earlier in the year. Well, the hunting property is about 240 acres. There's 40 to 60 acres that we do not go in. It's kind of like the deer sanctuary. Some people might not understand what that is. It's just an area where we don't go in. We don't mess with them in there. Well, today I decided to walk down there and look around and try to figure out what's going on, because I wasn't seeing very many scrapes or rubs, you know. I get walking down on the south end of the property, and I come around. There's a field on the south end of the property that is not owned by us. It's owned by someone else, and there's a campground and everything else down there, where I found, if you go look at my community page, I found empty bags of apple corn, a bag of Black Magic, and a jug of some apple stuff you pour out that's liquid. So now we kind of figured out what was going on. We've had issues with spotlighters before in there at night, but they've kind of eased off. But I believe what's going on is we have someone hunting on the south end of the property. The reason I say that is the bait site is not real fresh. It looks like it's a couple weeks old. I didn't find any evidence of tree stands, hunting blinds, anything like that. Didn't find any cameras. Now that's, to me, it looks more like a setup for a spotlighter. That's what it looks like. Some spotlighting is, you can't even shine deer down here in Alabama at night. You can't spotlight even if you don't, you know, it's harassing wildlife. Some states you're allowed to shine deer at night. You're not allowed to shoot them, but you're allowed to shine lights and look at them and stuff. But in Alabama you can't do it. So what it's looking like is going on is we have a poacher on the south end. So cameras were moved today to try to pick this person up and try to catch them in there. Also, I'm going to start watching the area more physically too. Now, it's in the area where we don't hunt. You know, we stay out of that area. It's a huge pine thicket's what it is, and we leave it alone. There's hardwoods in there too, but we leave that area alone because it's pretty much where they bed at, and we don't want to be in there messing with them, right? But now we've got something going on. We had to go down in there today and look. I knew something was wrong because our rut is pretty much over here where I hunt in Alabama. Our rut, they'll start chasing the week of Thanksgiving, the week after Thanksgiving. And the full-blown rut is usually the first week of December. And this year it went pretty much right along with the way it's always been. One way to tell if you're not sure if the rut is over in your area, if you have fawns and does that are back together, usually that's a sign that the doe has been bred or attempted to be bred, and she's back with her fawns. In our area, the does will kick the fawns away from them during the rut. And then for the first week of December, we were seeing a lot of young deer walking through the woods. You know, just young deers are easy to kill because they'll walk around in front of you. They don't know no better. But now the does are back with their fawns, but we're not seeing bucks on camera, and now we kind of got an idea of what's going on. It's not a huge property. You know, some people will say, well, 240 acres is a pretty big property. It is, but you take, let's just say 40 to 60 acres out of that, it's not a real big property to hunt. It's open hardwoods with pine thickets on some of the property. And it's hard to hunt when you got people, more than likely they're spotlighting the deer. That's more than likely what's going on. We've had the issue before, and we was able to put a stop to it. You know, there's signs everywhere the property is posted. There's cameras everywhere. but we don't put cameras around the deer sanctuary, right? We don't do it because we don't go down there and we don't mess with them. We don't want to go in their area down there. Some people say you shouldn't do that. You should be all over the property, right? But, you know, I always believed if you've got an area where the deer are pretty much living, stay out of that area, right? Hunt them on outside, because this thicket's it's on the south end, but it's huntable all the way around it except for the back end where the field is, right? A lot of our deers get harvested up on the north end of the property. They're trails where they come through to another green field that they eat on. But I believe that's what's going on here. Some of you can be like, what's that got to do with prepping, or what's that got to do with, you know, anything that I'm interested in? Number one, I hope it helps you out with, hey, if you're not seeing the bucks you normally see that you saw, you know, all the way up, and now they're gone, you know, sometimes deer go way off during the rut, don't get me wrong, but usually they start trickling back, right? Now they're not. We quit getting bucks on camera, big bucks, about a week and a half before Thanksgiving. Now, with that said, we heard shooting, but the way things are in that area, it could be someone on another property hunting that's adjacent to it, right? We never thought this could be going on. They've got a mineral site going, and they got corn going. It is legal to bait in Alabama. We have bait permits. We bait here where I hunt. You know, we don't hunt over the bait, but it's here. But we can buy a bait permit in Alabama to be allowed to shoot deer with bait. But guys, this is one of the hardest years we've had hunting here as far as harvesting deers. It really is. And I told you, this is where our meat comes from. A lot of people are going to be like, no, it don't. You buy meat at the grocery store. Very rarely we buy meat at the grocery store. Number one, it's so dang expensive you can't afford it no more. We've talked about this, $5 a pound hamburger meat, too expensive to buy. You know, chicken, ridiculous prices. Pork chops, we bought pork chops one time, we caught them on sale, like ridiculous sale. There's a short of the prices. It was at an IGA, and we stocked up on pork chops at that time. But if you're having luck this year deer hunting, you know, I'm happy for you. We're harvesting deers here, but we're just not seeing the deers we're used to seeing. And I knew something was wrong because we're not even having much buck sign in the area. There's a few trees, little saplings about the size of your finger that are, you know, rubbed on, and just no good buck sign. The big bucks we had are gone. And everybody asks me, why don't you hunt the big bucks in your area? Here's the reason I don't hunt them. We have pictures of some huge deer. Huge deer. Well, number one, in my area, you can hunt 30 minutes before daylight, shoot 30 minutes before daylight, or 30 minutes after sunset. Alright? Let's say sunset's at 4:35 and I come out of the woods at 5:07. By the time I walk the 200 yards to the four-wheeler and get on it, it's about 5:10, 5:12 maybe, 5:15. You'll hear people shooting. I mean, they'll shoot all the way up to dark here. And we have spotlighters in this area. You know, I'm not a trophy hunter, but I like to see the big deers. You know, I would love for one of the kids to get the big deers or something like that. As far as me, as long as it's got meat on it, you know, it's fine with me. I'm not a trophy hunter. But when you have people sneaking in and shooting the deer on the property, see, when I was walking the south end of the property, I kept smelling something sweet. I'm like, what is blooming? There shouldn't be nothing blooming this time of year that smells like sweet, like grape sweet. And then I kept walking around, and to beat it all, they just threw their corn bags, their empty Black Magic bag down, and their empty jug down on the ground. Didn't even take it back with them. There's pictures of what I found on my community section if you want to go see it. But there's a little update what's going on. We're going to hunt this afternoon. We've moved cameras around trying to pick up on what's going on down there and see who it is. You know, a lot of people are going to be like, call the law, call the game warden, and that. We prefer to deal with stuff here ourselves. That's the way this works. You know, if it gets too bad out of hand, yeah, the law will get involved in it. But down here where I'm at, people prefer to handle stuff by themselves, in between the people that's doing it and the people that's saying you shouldn't be doing it. So that's how that gets dealt with down here. Guys, keep your head on a swivel, be aware of your surroundings at all times, protect yourself and your family at all times. At that moment, you're the only person that can do it. And if you're deer hunting, stay at it. If your hunting season's over, I hope you had good luck hunting. I hope you was able to stock your freezers. I know some places you're not allowed that many deers. Here in Alabama, we can get 3 bucks, one of which has to have 4 points or more on one side, and you can basically shoot a doe a day here in Alabama. So, guys, stay safe and keep prepping.